But first, at 5 children as young as 6 months could get their first COVID vaccine in just weeks. Moderna submitting an emergency authorization request to the FDA to vaccinate kids who are between 6 months to 5 years old.
But the efficiency may not be as high as some parents had hoped for. Caitlin Ross talked to a local doctor who says the shots are still worth it for children.
This authorization could come quickly. The FDA is expected to make its decision by June, but Dr. Jane Morgan, who leads the task force against COVID at Piedmont Hospital, says it's been in the works for years.
These are actually the exact same trials that are run for adults at a lower dose. So we know the side effect profile, we know the safety profile.
While the components of the vaccine are the same, Dr. Jane Morgan says it's not as effective in younger kids. The data Moderna presented to the FDA shows a 37% efficacy rate for children 2 to 5 years old and a 51% for kids 6 months to 2 years old. But Dr. Morgan still thinks it's worth it for kids to get the vaccine.
And what we're talking about is the prevention of these symptoms. What we're also talking about is long haul syndrome, these long-term symptoms that develop if your child is exposed to the virus and comes down with COVID.
She says all of the vaccines have been less effective against the Omicron variant of the virus, which was rapidly spreading through the U.S. when the trials for this age group were conducted.
This entire cohort was trialed against the Omicron variant. This formulation is still the original formulation. We saw that even in the adult doses against Omicron, there was less efficacy. And
there are nearly 20 million kids in this age group in the U.S. who would be eligible for the vaccine. And the CDC estimates about 75% of them may have already been infected with the virus at some point. Still, Dr. Morgan says Moderna's vaccine could offer kids additional protection.
A previous infection with COVID does not confer lifelong immunity, as we have seen with other viruses.
Well, this is big news for the 6-month and up crowd. Dr. Morgan says there's still no data for infants younger than 6 months, and parents with babies that age will likely be waiting for their kids to be aging up to the vaccine before it's approved for that group.